Origin sonuç reaction this is why did the Allies declare war on the USSR when it invaded Ukraine, Poland? But channel history matters. As you know, World War II in Europe began with Britain and France declaring war on Germany after it invaded Poland. But when the USSR invaded soon afterwards, the Allies did nothing. But why? Why was there no declaration of war on the Soviet Union? Finally, they thought, okay, I guess there could be many reasons. Like uh, the first Germany did it, so I guess obviously their anger is going to be towards Germany, and Soviet Union did it afterwards. Like, and I think the second point would have been like, why fight Soviet Union and Germany at the same time, right? I mean, that would have been a bit too much. So I guess that could be the reason. I don't know. It's going to be interesting to see what the actual reason was. History Matters is a great channel. They explain complicated topics in just less than 4 to 5 minutes, which is awesome. So yeah, let's do it. Remember, if you like my reaction, do follow and subscribe so I know which type of videos to react to more. Check out the reaction, there's a link in the description. They'll find more videos from History Matters and I guess other history video or any other video. Their playlist too. And yeah, let's do it.
When Germany invaded Poland in September 1939, Britain and France, having pledged to defend it, responded by declaring...
Oh, there we go.
When Germany invaded Poland in September 1939, Britain and France, having pledged to defend it, responded by declaring war on Germany. Yet, 2 weeks after German troops crossed the border from the west, Soviet troops invaded from the east. And as many of you will know, there wasn't a response. But why? Why didn't the Allies declare war on the USSR? So, a bit of background. Throughout the 20s and 30s, Britain was particularly concerned about Polish, existence, and felt that it guaranteeing Polish independence would be enough to deter foreign aggression forever. It was not. The British guarantee stated that it would defend Poland against an invasion by a European power. The treaty did have a secret protocol, though, that stated that European power actually meant Germany, and only Germany, and that in the event of a Soviet invasion, Britain and Poland would enter into discussions about mutual assistance. France had also agreed to support Poland, and much like Britain, only agreed to defend it against German aggression. Although France's agreement was much more informal and was an arrangement between the French and Polish militaries, not their governments, and so France technically had no obligations to Poland whatsoever.
Yeah, so I guess after World War I, where basically Germany was one of the powerhouses that attacked literally everybody, and from that side, Germany was the only competent one. So one thing everybody noticed, that Germany is the real threat, right? Even after all the things that were put on Germany, people just basically, told like Poland that we're gonna defend you, but against Germany, because that's what they thought the threat would be, right? Where Russia, USSR basically went through the revolution and then created USSR after World War I during those times. So nobody really paid attention to that particular area. But now USSR is a thing. Now it's aggressive. But obviously people are going to cling to technicalities like it's happening right now. You're not part of NATO, you're NATO, that kind of thing. So basically that's what they did at the time. Like, this agreement specifically says against Germany, so we are only going to defend you against Germany.
A slight snag came when the USSR and Germany signed the Molotov-Ribbentrop Pact, in which they agreed to supply each other with much-needed materials and expertise. The pact also secretly divided Poland up between them and also made clear to the rest of the world that they were going to economically support each other in the coming years.
That is some next level shit, I'm not gonna lie. Molotov-Ribbentrop Pact, right? They basically just agreed. Two of those people met and just agreed. You see that Poland between us, let's divide them off into our own territory. That's some next level shit, right? That's some grim shit. Right? Obviously, nobody found that out, right? And when they found out, it was really, it was already way too late. But that's some fucked up shit. And Finnish people just saw that, that pact, and they basically just mocked it, right? With Molotov cocktail and shit like that.
So the reason that Britain and France didn't declare war on the USSR was simple. They didn't have to. Although there is some nuance to this. So after Britain received word of the Soviet invasion from the east, its reaction was one of caution. The Polish ambassador had approached the British government and was like, maybe help, to which Britain said no. Now, this doesn't mean that Britain was never going to help, it simply meant that the UK was weighing its options and prioritising victory over Germany above all other things, including Poland existing. You see, the British government was aware that the USSR and Germany had spent the past half-decade denouncing each other, and now that Poland had fallen, there was no buffer state between the two anymore. As such, there was a strong belief that Britain and France need only hold out until the two inevitably turn on each other. The French government held a similar view, but they also believed that Poland, as of the Soviet invasion, no longer existed, and that France declaring war on Stalin wouldn't do anything to help anyone. And to French strategists...
Ooh, this is so good. So basically, they did care about Poland existing for their own benefit, right? So they're basically like, just chill out with the Soviet Union. Right now, we have a concern about Germany. In order for you to survive, Poland to survive, we have to focus on Germany. We just have to wait long enough before Germany and USSR basically hate each other again, because they knew what Hitler's mentality was, what the Nazism was, right? It was completely opposite of communism. So I'm like, how long their alliance is going to last? And it was not much of alliance, was it? It's just like agreement, like you take this part, I take this part. That's interesting.
Was actually a good thing, since Germany now likely had to keep a large number of troops on its eastern border, meaning that France would have a much easier job in defeating Germany, just like in World War I. And so when Poland was conquered, Britain pushed forward with the harshest measures known. It wrote a strongly worded letter to the USSR saying that the Soviet invasion was unjustified and frankly not on. In the end, both the UK and France opted to continue relations with the USSR as if nothing had happened. This was done with the long view in mind. Both felt that Poland was entirely lost and that defeating Germany was now the only goal. France stressed that Soviet plans would likely soon clash with German plans and the two would soon be at each other's throats. For Britain, the policy was one of caution and waiting to see what the Soviet endgame was. The Soviet Union was seen as a potential future partner whose industrial might and manpower would greatly help in defeating Germany. And if the cost of that help was Eastern Poland, then France and Britain were happy to accept that. I hope you enjoyed this episode, and a special thanks to my Patreon supporters, James Bizanet, John Lucid, Danny Maloney, A Man of Culture, Marvin Cassow, John Bizquez, Mo, Rob Waterhouse, James Castaneda, Aaron the White, Jordan Lee, Spinning Three Plates, David Silverman, Maggie Paxkowski, Spencer Lightfoot, Winston Kaywood, Robert Wetzel, Anthony Beckett, Kelly Moneymaker. Also, they'd have lost.
There you go. That's why I waited for long. That's the thing that I said at the start of the video, which basically this channel said in the last 2 seconds. Yeah, like you're gonna fight Nazis in Germany. Now you're gonna fight USSR too. You're gonna basically Nazis and communists basically hate each other. So Germany and Soviet Union would never been a thing, but they would have been a thing if everybody was against them. Like your enemy of my enemy is my friend or some shit like that. So Germany would have eventually said, okay, Soviet Union, let's band together to fight these aggressors, even though we hate each other, right? And Britain and France can't have that. They were basically relying on Germany and USSR fighting each other, right? Because imagine if USSR was with Germany in World War II, many things would have changed. Too much things would have changed. Because in World War II, the biggest manpower loss was from the USSR, right? Now exclude that manpower from the Nazi losses. Now how powerful that alliance becomes, right? And how fucked up this side becomes. I'm not saying they would have won overall World War II with the inclusion of America and every other countries eventually. But yeah, it would have been interesting. Like a alternate history channel could basically create a video about that. But yeah, that was a smart thing that France and Britain did. Like, let's not see just short-term thing and aim for a long-term goal, basically. So yeah, they didn't try to fight USSR and Germany at the same time. They banked on things slowly. This was interesting. Alright, well, that was why didn't the Allies declare war on the USSR when it invaded Poland? Because that wouldn't have been the smart thing to do. That's not politics. That would be a really fucked up thing. So yeah, if you like my reaction, don't forget to like, subscribe, check out the reaction, there's a link in the description, check out the cards, and yeah, I'll see you next time.